Hey HCDA and welcome back to Cosmoteer. Last time around I showed you how to build a pretty nice starting ship, but of course that's not going to last us for very long. However, in order to upgrade this we're going to need more money, and in order to upgrade this significantly we are going to need significantly more money. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to knock out some more of these level 1 bounties, get some more money, get some more materials, and then we'll meet back here. Now, as a side note, last time around I did mention that things would be becoming more difficult, and as you can see, some of the zones I'm actually going to be doing these bounties in have more than one enemy, and you do not want to fight more than one enemy at a time early in the game. So we need to be very careful about how we maneuver around here. If this enemy starts fleeing, then we'll just let it go, because yeah, once again, I don't want to be taking on more than one at a time. Well, so much for that. The second enemy found me while I was fighting the first one. However, this one is completely disabled, at least it doesn't have any guns anymore, so I think we might be able to take on the second one. I'm playing at a very slow speed, as you can see, mostly because I want to make sure we target this disruptor first. This thing can actually tear out my shields really quickly, so I would like to destroy it before it gets a chance to do so. And just to make my point, as you can see, my shield has already been taken out. Luckily I do have some armor, so it's not the end of the world. I'm going to take some damage, we can repair that, again, not the end of the world, but ideally I would like my shields to stay alive, so as soon as I can blow this up, maybe then I can repair my shield, that can get back online, and we can move forward from that without taking too much damage. Well, it seems like my superior tactics are paying off, because they're trying to pay me not to kill them. However, they're a part of the questline, as you can see from this star next to the ship, so we are definitely going to have to destroy them, and even if I don't destroy them, I think this NPC over here is going to do that for me. So yeah, sorry guy, but you are going to have to die. Well, isn't this a little helpful fellow over here? Is actually going to destroy the other one that was just floating around here that I left harmless, and is going to destroy that for me so I can go and loot that afterwards. Meanwhile, their little friend over here is conveniently just chilling out over in the corner, so I'm actually wondering, is this guy going to loot my stuff? No, doesn't seem like it, so I can just go ahead and do all the looting myself. Well, the third ship also entered combat in the end, and also brought a disruptor, so I took quite a bit of damage, as you can see. Luckily, because of all the loot I'm getting now, it should be pretty easy to just repair my own ship while I'm at it, and get some more bounty on top of that. Alright, would you look at this, all nice and cleared out, although if I venture any further outside of this initial starting zone, I'm going to run into multiple ships trying to attack me. I think there's a whole cluster of them here. I think there's something like a space station over here. I ran away from those, obviously, because my ship right now, if anything that above level 1 just sneezes at me, I'm going to die. However, all that fighting did leave me with quite a bit of money already, and I can get some more money from just getting these bounties completed now. As you can see, I'm no longer getting any fame from that, because, well, they kind of figured that I can destroy level 1 enemies now. It's also kind of a hint by the game to tell you to move on to something more difficult. I'm still getting a reputation from it though, so that's nice. And I will be getting quite a bit of reputation actually from all of this. But all in all, we do want to start moving on to, for example, level 2 quests now. Maybe something like the level 1 to 3, as well as some of this. Now actually the coil delivery I can already do, because as you can see I have those coils on me. I would just be selling them and get an additional reward on top of the actual selling price. However, I'm also going to need those coils to actually upgrade my ship, so I am not going to do that right now, but I am going to accept it because this is a fairly easy quest to complete later on if I want to. Before we start designing our ship, let's check out the blueprints we have available on this station as well. The heavy laser blaster seems very interesting because that allows me to, you know, have heavier lasers than I already have. Let's see, we also have the disruptor, which can take care of enemy shields. Let's pick that up as well. The ion beam emitter shoots a powerful beam of ion energy in a fixed direction. This is a little bit less flexible because it can't actually turn with you. I'm gonna skip on that for now. I don't want anything that requires ammunition just yet either, just because it's annoying to produce that, and I don't have the capability to do so yet. I might actually pick up a large shield generator. Not entirely sure how much power that's going to take, but let's find out. A small hyperdrive sounds like a plan as well, because it will allow me to move between systems, so I'm gonna need to pick that up one way or another anyway. The medium reactor core sounds like a plan as well, that will allow me to produce a lot more power than I am right now. And the manipulator beam emitter, that's a complicated thing to say, is basically a tractor beam. That is going to allow me to harvest my enemies a lot faster, potentially harvest mining resources as well. So, you know, let's pick that up. I think I spent just a huge part of my money already just on buying new blueprints, so let's put them to use. Okay, so let's talk about building in this game or designing your ship in a little bit more detail than before. First of all, there's the command points over here. If we exceed the maximum amount of command points, the ship won't really function, so that's a pretty hard cap for building purposes. We also need to take into account how many people we need on the ship. We do get a suggested number, so that kind of tells us what to aim for, and we need to take into consideration how much power everything is going to take. Typically you want to stay above the suggested number just to make sure everything can actually keep functioning. Now, while designing your ship, you should pretty much always do this in blueprint mode, unless you need something on the fly or something like that. But even then, just pause the game, put it on blueprint mode. It's just way more convenient than building and trying to design something alive. You can see the costs of everything that you're trying to build in the description below. You can see the materials, you can see the command points, and you can also see the money equivalent of those materials in case you need to go out and buy things. As you can see, not everything costs command points. Like for example, the hyperdrive over here is pretty expensive, but it doesn't actually add command points. It's mostly things like thrusters and guns that will add command points. There's a limit to how many guns you can put on your ship. But things like storage, for example, doesn't cost anything either. So yeah, you can take that into consideration while designing your ship as well. Now, although you can just grab components and just drag them around, I would actually recommend to just delete your ship initially. Something like this, use the larger brush to make that easier, and start designing from scratch. This is easier that way to make something that looks good. Then, before you start trying to make your ship look pretty and moving things around, just lay out the pieces that you want to include in your ship. There's a couple of reasons to do that. First of all, it will tell you whether or not you can actually afford that. You do want to make sure that you don't spend all your money just picking your parts, because you're also going to need things like doors, corridors, armor, little things like that will take up some money as well. You also will need to hire more crew, most likely, if you're going to be upgrading your ship. So make sure you leave yourself some money for that. And you also want to make sure that you balance out your requirements. So for example, as you can see, I am well within my command point range, so that's nice. I know I am going to need about 23 people, so I have 24 right now in terms of the crew quarters. I might add a couple of beds to that just to make sure that if I lose a crew member by taking damage, for example, I have a couple of them to spare. I have a nice amount of power. I have 4.5 produced by this medium reactor core, and I need about 3.9, so that's nice. And I have plenty of thrusters included because this ship is going to be significantly larger than the one I had before, and I want to make sure it's still able to maneuver around. And in terms of the thrusters, you can go for the other options as well. I just laid out the larger one just to make sure I included enough of it. Putting everything together, I came up with something that looks something like this. I have the shield generator in the middle, kind of tucked in here. It needs to be at least facing outside of my ship, so this is why it's not being protected by any armor. I could build around that, but I'm hoping the shield will actually just protect me. I do have some armor pieces here on the outside, and I have a lot of guns in order to make sure that whoever is shooting at me stops doing that pretty quickly. Hopefully, that's the idea anyway. I did not really armor the outside of the rest of the ship, not because that's not a good idea to do, but because I was basically just running out of money. I fit in everything else, so we have the reactor, we have all the crew quarters here on the outside. I added in a lot of thrusters to make sure we can get around. I'm hoping this will be enough, but let's find out. And we have the beam emitter here as well. This is completely optional, but I thought it was kind of cool. I didn't actually add in the hyper jump generator, mostly because I, again, was running out of money and we don't need it right now. But we definitely want to expand on this ship a little further once we get some more money. Oh, and as a side note, if you include more advanced materials like I've done over here, you could get into a situation where you're trying to build things, as I am trying to do here over here, but you don't actually have the resources for that. Not because you don't have enough money, but because the station that you're trying to buy these resources from doesn't actually have these resources. So in my case, I am going to need some more enriched uranium. I can actually find that I have a little bit of it myself, but I need a couple of more of these. And we're going to need diamonds, which this station is actually not selling. In that case, don't despair, just save your ship design first and then go and find a station that does actually sell those things. It shouldn't be too hard to find that, especially early on. On a different note, if you want to optimize your funds and availability a little bit when you're buying a new upgrade for your ship, look at what the materials are that you require and sell everything else. So for example, over here, I don't need any processors for this particular design, so I might as well go and sell them. But if I find any enriched uranium somewhere on a station, I might as well just buy that and bring it to a different station, because not every station is going to sell everything you need. So you might need to go out and collect the stuff from different stations. And then finally you will get to a point where the button lights up and you can say make it so, and you can enjoy the view of your entire ship being built. So let's check that out. This is going to be a major redesign, as you can see. Luckily the station is going to go and help me out. Look at all of that swarming around my ship, and in a moment it will be turned to a brand new ship. And then after a while, once it's built, you'll find yourself with a nice impressive new ship. I actually got some money left because I visited some stations and got quest rewards for that, and bought myself some more armor as well as some more engines to make sure I can actually maneuver my ship. Now, this looks like an actual battleship or gunship or whatever you want to call it. Let's take it for a spin. I am fully expecting this to be complete overkill, by the way, so just in case you're wondering if you should be doing the exact same build, probably not, honestly. Let me see, what are we dealing with? This is a level 2 fighter, so nothing too special. It has its cockpit over here. There we go, let's see if we can get some lateral movement as well. What's my normal distance actually for attacking? I don't know, but this should be working just fine. Yeah, we're doing a fair amount of damage. It has a lot of protection though, but from the side we should be able to dive in just fine. We might want to add in a little bit more of these side thrusters so I can get around a little bit easier, because as you can see this is not working. But there we go, we took down a level 2 fighter without any issue, and we didn't even take any damage. The tractor beams are doing their job as well, so this collecting is going to go a lot faster than it was before. So let's see how we fare against a different ship. This one just has standard cannons, quite a few of them though, so let's find out. We are not taking any damage as far as I can tell. And there goes the first cannon. Should be pretty easy from the looks of it. Probably speed this up a little bit. They're trying to heal this. Yeah, I think they're trying to surrender, but that's not going to happen because it's a quest. Alright, so how about a level 3 ship? We have a disruptor here, so let's take that out first. Let's see how we do. It's probably going to turn around for me. Yep, there we go. Let's take out the disruptor. And the other gun while we're at it. How's my shield doing? I am taking some damage, so it did actually punch through my shield. Not entirely sure if that's the disruptor or just the fact that it's doing quite a bit of damage. It did have quite a few guns, honestly. However, my guns are still alive and its guns are not. Oh, it actually has a shield as well, so that's interesting. Are my disruptors hitting it? Probably not. I might be a little bit too far away. So let's move in closer, because the disruptors do not have as long as a range as everything else. There we go. That took care of the shields. I should have noticed the shield before, honestly. So that is something you need to be aware of. Now it's turning back around, but as you can see, the shield gets taken out almost immediately. It's actually turning the cockpit towards me. That's convenient. There we go. And now we can go and salvage that level 3 ship as well. Well, I'm just plowing through these enemy ships now, but I do have to say that I really enjoy all the different designs that I encounter along the way. It just shows you how much creativity you can put in the game yourself if you want to build different types of ships. So, I cleared out all the level 3 quests as well. That wasn't very difficult at all. And as you can see, I have a nicely cleared map now. I only have 3 missions left in order to kill pirates, all of which are either for a base, like those two, or from, well, this is actually also a base. So it's just 3 bases. Now, these quests are level 6, so I'm probably going to need a little bit more firepower than my current ship has. There's a couple of defense platforms at each of these locations. I know this by having been killed by them several times. So we're going to need to upgrade our firepower. Now, actually, I found a ship graveyard over here that's going to help with that, because that's actually a ship graveyard that has a lot of raw materials in there. So if I ever need any steel or anything like that, there's typically not that interesting materials in there. It's mostly like scrap stuff, but still there's a lot of that in there. So it's either a lot of money or it's just a lot of building materials in order to upgrade our ship. That said, we also have over 200,000 credits now, so that's almost four times, I think, the value of our current ship, not counting the crew. Speaking of which, if you look at our career, if you look at our reputation specifically, we are now at 149 reputation. 140 gives us access to 44 crew members. So there's a limit on how many people we can have crewing our ships. And when I say ships, yeah, I actually mean that you can make more than one ship in this game. Building a whole fleet of ships, no matter how much money you have, is not going to work because of the limits that your fame puts on you. But as you can see, I'm currently at least 44 maximum crew. I'm actually slightly above 140 reputation. The next level is 55 at 210, but it does scale in between as well. So I'm hoping I have enough room for at least 48 people. It might be a little bit overconfident, but the reason I'm hoping for that is because that would allow us to do something like this. Build a second ship. Just load in the ship design of the ship that we already have. There we go, it's a gun ship. And then say okay, and there we go. It will cost us 90,000 along with all the materials that I just gathered. But I'm sure it's all going to be worth it. And look at that, we have the ship under construction. Having a second ship built is fun and all, but it's not actually going to do much unless it has a crew. And by default, because there's no one on here, it's not going to do anything at all. I can't even command it. So what I can do is go to the crew on my first ship and go to this little thing over here, transfer crew and resources, and then just put at least one person on the other ship, which definitely needs a better name. I'll get to that in a moment. Now this should allow one of my people to go through the air hatch. Yep, there we go. The airlock hatch, I should say. Transfer to the other ship. Yeah, there we go. And then hopefully... yeah, I was about to say, it's going to go to the cockpit. That will allow me, hopefully, once again, to communicate to the station. And then just say, hire some more crew. There we go. That was only 16 people, actually. That's a little disappointing. How many people did I have on this ship? I had like 24, right? So we have... Are there still 24 on the ship? No, there's 22 on the ship. So let me see. Were there not enough people on the station? I didn't actually check. I didn't pay attention. Sorry. No, there are enough people on the station. I can actually hire another one for this ship now. And I can probably also hire some more for this one. Let's see if I can actually fill up this entire ship. Yeah, so I still have 6 people left. I'm gonna go and visit another station in order to fill up the rest of this crew. Okay, so it turns out that even though I have 149 fame and the threshold is 140 to give me 44, apparently I don't have any more than 44 crew capacity just yet. So that either means that this doesn't scale linearly like I thought it would, or I'm just misinterpreting how this works. But anyway, that does mean I only get to put 22 people on each of my ships. However, I think that should be more than enough to have them mostly function at full capacity, maybe not entirely, but should be close enough. I did put in some roles for the security team again to make sure at least my guns are going to be running smoothly. I'm probably also going to need to upgrade the security role to make sure that they are also servicing the shield. But other than that, I don't really care about my engines running full stop. If there's a couple of them going out during a fight, that's not going to be a big problem. Also, some of you were nice enough to give me some name suggestions for my ships, so thanks to Yardev, this one is now called the Liberator, and thanks to Nayen, or Nayen, I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce that, we also have a ship called the Razor now. Now, I also assigned some control groups, so I can very quickly, by just pressing F1, F2, or F3, select both ships, one ship or the other ship, so it should make it easy to control them in combat. As we have 2 ships now, the RTS lover in me immediately thought, how do I make my ships fly in formation? Turns out that's really easy. You select multiple ships, there's a formation button right here, which allows you to have your ships fly in a nice little row like this. They will do so by default. Makes sense if there's just 2 of them. If you have more than 2, having either wedge or a claw formation, depending on what these ships are actually doing, might make a lot of sense as well. The ships will move in the formation, or try to move in the formation as much as possible. I'm not entirely sure why one ship is faster than the other right now, because they have the exact same amount of engine. So you can see it's a little bit messy, but yeah, it does work. There is an option set by default, actually. Let me show it to you. Over here, under ship commands, under gameplay, it has the ships automatically break formation once they are in a combat, which I think actually makes sense, because once you are in combat, you might want to move your ships around and not stay static all the time, especially once you're trying to like flank your enemies or things like that, which you should be doing. So yeah, just forget about formations, I think, in combat, although you could do some fun stuff with that. For example, have some, I don't know, like tank ships in the front, where you have these drawing fire while there's more offensive ships in the back being protected by those others. Although, honestly, if you're going that route, you might as well just build yourself a large giant ship to do the same thing instead. The real question now, however, is can we take on a pirate base? There's a lot of pirates here. I am probably going to want to take this a little bit careful, so I'm going to go around, take out some of the floaters around here. I think these are just stationary defenses, so if we can take out the ships first, that will go a long way in making the station itself more manageable. However, I'm just going to go and hunt down these stray ships first. Well, so far the ships flying around the periphery are not that impressive. This is just a level 1 ship. So hopefully by whittling those down, there's at least 2 more of those, I can take it easy and then just focus on the pirate station instead. The ships themselves do seem to be flying in a kind of a random pattern, so all you need to do is just wait until they remove themselves far enough away from the base that they're protecting, and then you should be able to take them out quite easily one by one, as long as they're not randomly sticking together too much. Some careful movement on the outside took care of the strays on the perimeter, and now we can take on the defense platform instead. And by approaching it from the furthest side that's away from all the others, I'm still out of reach of everything else. I'm not sure if that's going to hold in every case, but at least for now it does. As you can see, there's no one shooting at me, so I can repeat this 3 more times and take out the inner defenses as well. Honestly, I didn't need 2 of these ships to take out the outer defenses so far, because that was really easy. However, let's see how we deal with a level 6 station. This has a lot of guns on it, so let's find out. But I do outrange these guns actually, so is this going to be stupidly easy just because I picked the right guns? It looks like it is, because right now this thing can actually not fire back at me. As long as I stay at maximum range, that is very important, because if I move in any closer, there's going to be a gazillion of these guns firing at me, and that will be a problem. However, of course, I can't count on every station having the same weapon, so if these would have lasers on them rather than these large cannons, I would have definitely been fired upon as well. So this is just me getting lucky with an easy station to kill. That said, I'm not complaining. This is a lot of loot for me to get, and it also means I have now completed the quest, which is actually going to give me quite a bit of reputation. Well, as it turns out, I assumed wrong, because I am now very close to the next level actually of the fame, and I still can only carry 44 people based on my previous level. So I definitely need to get to just the 210 flat in order to get any increase to my crew size, which is a little bit unfortunate, but yeah, it's just what we need to deal with. So I got a little bit overconfident attacking the second station, and it turns out that this one has actually missile turrets, level 2 missile turrets that can attack me while I'm trying to attack the cannon turrets that were in between. It's not going to be too much of a problem, I don't think, but yeah, I'm definitely getting attacked by 3 turrets at the same time. Luckily though, if you have this much firepower, you can just kind of burst yourself way through some of these platforms, and they are not proving too much of a challenge. Well, the turrets were more of a danger to me than the actual space station, because once again, it's fully armed, but it's not actually going to be able to hit me once I stay outside of it. I know we're optimizing our gameplay, so this is working like intended, but I'm feeling a little bit dirty here. The missile turrets actually did some serious damage to my ships, mostly because I wasn't paying attention, and it turned out that one of my ships actually had, let me show you, the door, this door specifically, got destroyed somehow, so there was no one able to get in my cockpit, so no one was flying my ship anymore. So it took me a while to figure out why the hell my ship wasn't moving, but yeah, turns out you do need the pilot in order for your ship to go anywhere. It also feels like the AI could probably just move the station a little bit to get it going, but yeah, I know, I'm not complaining. There is a lot of materials to gather from these bases though, although I have to say most of it is just like random stuff that's not going to be very valuable, but there are some things in here that will net you quite a bit of money, and well, there's nothing wrong with money. It allows you to build bigger, better, and more ships, so let's just gather everything up. And if this all feels really easy to you, this is one of my ships being blown up because I underestimated this level 3 Couturier. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that, but it just blew up one of my ships quite easily, even though I was attacking it with 2 of them. And look, there's another friend joining him as well. So yeah, again, this game looks very easy once you figured it out and you have the right answer to whatever your enemy is bringing. But it's really easy to get blown out of the water if you're not being careful. Luckily, as long as you're just a little bit careful and don't try to bite off more than you can chew, basically, you should still be fine attacking even a stronger base like this. I do have to say that some of the better designed ships, like this one for example, are actually causing me quite a bit of problems, even though I have 2 ships to counter that. For example, this one over here has 2 disruptors, so they're tearing through my shields really easily. And then these cannons on the front, these large cannons I should say, are ripping through my ship. So yeah, this is actually not easy to defeat, especially not if there's more than one. I do have to say that the flanking thing is working quite nicely, and if you're dragging your precision, you can actually see the range of your weapon. So you can see the outer ring is my lasers, and then the inner ring is my disruptors. So if I want to make sure everything is firing, I can do it like this. If I want to keep my distance, I can do it like this. And then I can say, okay, this one is going to attack from the front, for example. But as you might see here, this is actually not an easy battle. You can see the shield over here is getting torn away pretty quickly. And I am taking quite a bit of damage because, well, I don't have any armor on the front, which is probably a design mistake on my part. So in the next episode, I'm going to have to do something about that. Now, I did defeat that enemy, but as you can see, there's quite a bit of damage on my ship. So I wasn't even that far from losing my ship in the process. But still, with a little bit of effort, I was able to clear out the entire zone with just the 2 ships that I just made. And as you can see, it's really a game about optimizing and trying to find out better strategies, because honestly, these 2 ships I currently have are far from perfect, probably. I have a feeling we can do a lot better, which is exactly what I'm going to do in the next episode, because we're going to have to prepare for some more difficult zones. It ramps up quite nicely. As you can see, there's like level 2 to 4. The starting zone is level 1 to 3. Then there's like 4 to 6, 5 to 7, etc. It goes up all the way to 18, by the way. And every level up is a significant jump in difficulty so far. So I don't even want to think what I'm going to be facing here. We're going to need a lot bigger ships in order to deal with that, a lot more ships. Luckily, that's exactly what we're going to be able to do, because even though I can currently have 55 crew members, so actually I have some to spare, I'm almost up to the next level as well, 70, it goes all the way up to 1500. So I hope you're looking forward to building some giant ships with me. All of the combat I did during this episode really taught me a lot about where the weak points are on this ship, how to improve on that, hopefully. And I also really want to check out what a giant ship would look like compared to having 2 different ones. All of which I'm going to be doing in the next episode, so if that's something that's interesting you, then make sure that you like and subscribe to this video. If you're still here, you are awesome, and I definitely hope to catch you in the next one.